yeah, everybody that is here now, everybody that's come to America now, they're here off of our ancestors' sacrifice. The word freedom it is a black struggle. White people never had to fight for freedom since they've come to America. You know, so understanding, us first understanding that we're being total cowards to our ancestral line just on that front. Just on that front. Just on the simple front that, you know, we fought so hard for what we have just for us to fall back and, just to want jobs still when really the word job or employee or working is really, you know, is really just a pretty term or a modern term for slave. You know what I'm saying? And until we own things, and until we, learn to listen to each other and liberate each other and understand that it's more about working together. It's a whole it's a world's worth of difference between working and working together. It's a world's worth of difference, between working and working together. You know, team means together each achieves more. We have to work as a team because together each achieves more. You know, so that's what I mean when I'm talking when I refer to Romans chapter 8 verse 6 when it says to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. You know, and we must understand the way that psychology falls among our children. How we always say white people have, like I was saying, white people have money because, they drive this car. They don't mind driving this car. They don't mind wearing these shoes. But we'll go out and we'll enslave ourselves right to these cars, and this psychology falls right on the kids, and we act like we don't understand why they're out here spending $200, $300 on shoes, and they rationalize it the same way that we do in the church. Hey, God wanted me to have it. Life is short. I ain't gonna be here. You know what I'm saying? We always find these ways of rationalizing. Rationalizing. Things that maybe shouldn't have you know been so. You know, very important. Very important. You know, in in Genesis, that's something that we have to definitely talk about. In Genesis, in Genesis verse 6, in Genesis chapter 2, verses 16 and 17, this is man's first commandment, and I'm gonna have to turn here myself with you. Genesis chapter 2, verse 16 and 17. I want y'all to see this with me. And I point this out so you can understand the chauvinistic nature, the also chauvinistic nature of the Bible, and how it robbed the woman completely of her divinity, her beauty, and her reputation as well. First off top, and it shows a real brutal link in the psychology of the European male, because when you realize the way that the woman has been, enslaved in the Bible, and when you understand that in America women didn't get the right to vote until 1920. Okay. Do you know that? Women didn't get the right to vote until 1920. So that means the European male's mother, sister, auntie, you know what I'm saying, wife, this shows a very brutal, and, animalistic almost, link, from American history, literally, not just American history, but American history and the Bible, so many links from the Bible to American history books and American history period. You know, so many links that we draw the dots. You know, so Genesis chapter 2, verses 16 and 17. And the Lord commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat it, you shall surely die. Now, I want y'all to understand that you go a couple verses down, and woman is being created. Okay? So, what you have here is Adam was given the commandment and Eve wasn't even there. No, so this was actually the first commandment before we ever had a 10 commandments to Moses. You know, this was the first commandment, you know what I'm saying, that we, you know, we wouldn't even need the 10 commandments. You know, if Adam just would have followed this shit. But keep in mind that, as I was saying earlier, everyone in the Bible is a spiritual metaphor. Adam isn't an actual person. You know what I'm saying? This is a spiritual metaphor for you, for me, and for the rest of the world, for man and woman, in our relationship with God, in our union. You know. So you have God giving Adam this commandment. You know, and you go a couple verses down, as I said, you know, woman is getting made. You know, the woman is getting made. And the fact of that alone shows that her eating the fruit wasn't even her fault. You know, obviously, Adam hadn't even put her up on game. You know, Adam hadn't even told his woman to not eat the fruit. And that's how she ended up eating the fruit, you know. And even worse, he knew not to eat the fruit. And when she came to him and she had it, he still ate it. So it's like he was like double guilty. And he was like triple guilty, because when God came in the garden and God called for him, you know, because he seen that they tried to cover themselves up with leaves, you know, and God seen that, and the first thing Adam told God is, you know, the woman you brought me gave me this. You know what I'm saying? The woman you brought me. So he was like triple wrong. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just so crazy, you know, because he didn't put her up on game. He knew to not eat it, and when she had it, he didn't snap or none of that. You know what I'm saying? He still ate it. So it's like he was like triple wrong, and then blame God, you know. And why Eve remained pure, is because when God came, and when God turned to her, rather, you know, she said, "The serpent deceiveth me." Hey, you know, serpent deceiveth me. You know, she took accountability for her sin. You know, you know, so much different than, you know, total opposite of Adam, who blamed God, you know, and shed accountability. So in the story of Adam and Eve, it's all about accountability. You know, it's all about accountability, and that's what you know, that, and you see out here in society that we have a total problem with accountability. You know, that's one of the hugest issues on the planet Earth, especially in America, is accountability, because the parents ain't doing shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you know, and that's why everything is going on now, because the parents are too egotistical to admit when they're wrong. You know, and that's what you have in Adam and Eve. You know, the woman remained pure. You know, and another way you know is because she got her day with God. You know, a day with God is 1,000 years. Is 1,000 years, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. A day with God is 1,000 years. It's supposed to be in biblical terms. You know, in the Europeans' mind, a day with God is 1,000 years. You know, we'll just keep that. So, and you know, Adam didn't get his 1,000 years with God. You know, Adam had like 9 and some change or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, very, you know, very interesting to peep that. Very interesting to peep that. Yeah, accountability. You know, so when you want to talk about women's rights, I mean, hell, you can even go to the Bible and see where that was implanted for it to be a problem, and why women didn't get into the 1920s. You know, regardless of your race. Crazy, crazy, man, crazy. You know. Yes, yes. But accountability, you know, accountability. That's the number one thing in Adam and Eve. You know.